All right, people, Talkback here. Special podcast on the happening. Look, I'm not going to waste too much time, okay? I'm just going to kick into this whole scenario. It's going to actually be a pretty quick one because it's very straightforward. What my thoughts were on this picture. Have hope is not actually around for this Talkback episode. And he hasn't actually seen it. Just a muck here. This movie sucked. Seriously sucked. Like the levels to which the depths to which this movie messed up are so extreme that it's actually very difficult for me to explain. It's one of those things that, you know what, I'm not actually sure whether to tell people to actually go and watch it just so you can understand where I'm coming from, or to just advise against watching it because I know where I'm coming from. I also want to say this, man. Shyamalan made Sixth Sense, and that was a pretty good movie. That was an excellent film. Shyamalan made Unbreakable, and to me, I consider Unbreakable probably the second best superhero movie of all time, second only to Superman 78, Richard Donner's movie. Then he made Signs, which was very shaky. I saw that. I was like, well, you know what? It's not that bad. I mean, it's okay, but maybe it's because expectations were so high that people might be expecting this guy to, whatever, whatever. Then I went out and saw The Village, and that was just a plain bad film. I mean, I'm sorry, it just wasn't good. And after I saw that, I mean, it left such a bad taste with me that I skipped Lady in the Water because I was like, you know what, Signs wasn't that great, and then I saw I saw The Village, and I just felt, you know what, this guy might just have gotten a bit self-indulgent, like maybe believing your own hype too much or thinking that you're the next Hitchcock or something. So therefore everything you do is good and you can basically do whatever you want. I don't know what it was, but Village just felt like this is just a guy who thinks that this is good, but and try to be clever, but it just didn't really get pulled off. So I skipped Lady in the Water, and apparently Lady in the Water wasn't very good either. So I didn't really miss anything with that one. But I read some of the interviews that he gave and some of the stuff that was said, and I felt, maybe this guy has a point that there might be some kind of like vendetta or some kind of like negative vibes that people are putting out for him, whereas he doesn't really deserve it, and maybe that was what messed up Lady in the Water and might have affected the village or whatever. So when The Happening came out, I mean, to be honest, he sort of lost his steam, so people weren't really that excited about this whole movie. And I just found out about it by chance, and I was like, man, this guy is doing another boo, we got you movie, or, another, oh, what's going on, or another terror, frightening. I'm like, do something else. But I'm like, you know what, look, let me give Happening a chance. And I went in there, this movie was rubbish. The movie was bad, man. Movie was bad. This movie was not good. I mean, I was laughing, I was confused, I was like laughing when you shouldn't be laughing, like, what is going on? Guys in the cinema were laughing, guys were talking to each other like, wow, is this for real? I mean, I'm going to throw out a couple of things, okay, guys? And I don't want to put in any spoilers, because in case people do want to watch it. I can't see why, but the guys out there, might say, look, I'm gonna see it anyway, make up my own mind. Just take a week. But look, mm, first thing that hit me about this picture was the casting. Now, I personally don't consider like Mark Wahlberg an actor per se. I mean, I always think of him as Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch and Good Vibrations and all that. So I don't really think of him like as an actor. Like it's fascinating to me how people have just sort of accepted that, oh, Marky Mark doesn't exist and this Mark Wahlberg who is different, and we're gonna. I'm like, look, this guy hasn't done anything in my memory that warrants the kind of attention that he's gotten and the kind of roles he's gotten. Departed was like, oh, whatever. If you gave that to like another actor who knew what the deal was, he would have given you a much better situation. I'm not against Marky Mark, or Mark Wahlberg or whatever. I'm not against it. I don't think he's terrible, but I don't think he's like of a level that he should be carrying films. You get what I'm saying? Co-star, fine. Bit part, fine. Character acting, fine. But carrying a whole movie, I mean, that's just, it's a bit much. That was the first mistake that these guys made because this guy's performance in The Happening was a shocker. Like, it was really bad. You know, really bad. Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, there's a classroom scene. I'm not spoiling anything, but there's a classroom scene where he's first introduced, his character's first introduced. The acting that this guy does in this classroom scene was like that's no teacher that I've ever heard of. Like it didn't even sound like he knew what he was talking about. Okay? Like you know when you're a teacher, like you're teaching stuff. So at least you're going to sound like you know what you're talking. It didn't even sound like he knew what he was talking about. It was like he was reading a teleprompter. This whole sort of scenario carried on for the whole movie. I'm like, wait a minute, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Like, do you know what character you're meant to be playing here? Like the emotions were all over the place. In fact, the emotions were all over the place for all the characters. Now, that moves me on to the second co-star. Because if you thought Mark Wahlberg was bad, this lady was like a cyborg. Like there was a guy that I watched the movie with a friend of mine, and the guy was like, the actress acted like she was a robot. Her acting was shockingly bad. Guys, talkbackers, everybody out there, okay? The actress in The Happening, her acting was shocking. It was so shocking that I thought it was tongue in cheek. Like I was like, okay, she's doing this intentionally because she's sort of making fun of these kinds of characters or making fun of these kinds of movies. But then as the more you watch the movie, the more you realize that she's actually taking it seriously and it's just bad. Like by the time you get to the ending parts of the movie and there's emotional scenes and everything, you realize that, oh my gosh, this lady is actually trying to perform. But this is just really bad, you know? And I'm like, oh, look, man, I was watching this thing and I was like, John Leguizamo's in this movie, okay? John Leguizamo, I consider a very, very underrated actor, very good actor who is seriously underrated, okay? And I was thinking, like, man, in a world that wasn't so biased and wasn't so fixated on like choosing people to become big time guys, like, I believe that Mark Wahlberg was just chosen by the powers that be in Hollywood or whatever and said, we're going to give this guy more shots. He did, maybe he raised a few eyebrows with some okay performances here and there, and they just keep giving him stuff. I'm like, Leguizamo's in this movie. Leguizamo should have been the main guy. That just swap roles. Give Mark Wahlberg Leguizamo's role and give Leguizamo the main role. And you'd have had a better film in the end. I mean, I thought there was a lot of problems with the movie anyway, but I'm just like, on if your lead is not compelling and isn't believable, then you've already got problems from the get go. So I'm like, these two leads were the lady was annoying and couldn't act. Mark Wahlberg didn't do a good performance and just was not believable in the situation and just messed up the whole thing. The little girl was like, whatever, ho hum, big deal, you know? And it was just like, what is this film? What is this movie? Like, guys, I don't want to mess, too many story points up, but the core plot point of this film is one of the most ridiculous things you will probably ever see in a mainstream film. I mean, I'm actually being serious. Like the main plot point of like what's going on. I was just like, no, 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 this cannot be the story. This, no way. And it actually was. So I'm like, okay, look, maybe this could have worked if you really constructed this film in a clever way and made it more ominous and made it more serious and I try to, but like the comedy is shoehorned into this thing at so many areas that you're looking at this thing and you're like, why is the comedy so in your face? Like they're actually trying to make you laugh.